do I feel about it? And then you hear people saying, आखिरकार वो तो फौजी था ना, तनख्वाह मिलती थी. Tankha milti thi is what some people have said. We are paid, so we must die. It hurts. You asked me a straight question, as a straight answer, I said it hurts. And
Today on Sarvaani Samvaad, we have Colonel Sunil Brijkrishan. Thank you for joining in, sir.
You're most welcome, my dear. I'm honored to be reassociating myself with a lovely young lady from my institute. Yes.
I'd like to tell you that sir has spent 28 years in the Indian Armed Forces and has more than 18 years plus experience and is currently working as a business specialist as well as a motivational speaker. So, you know what is happening, the current situation, you know what India and China border issues are. Your understanding of the present conflict and how you see as a veteran and somebody who's looking at this situation from past decades.
Drishti, having asked me this question, which is so potent and so pertinent in today's scenario, let me go back a little into time. I was a very tiny little fellow with no sense of any bearing whatsoever when the Chinese attacked us for the first time in 1962. And I don't have any ideas about that. I was not even in upper KG or whatever. But over the years, one has realized, and what I could visualize later, having read the scriptures, we had a great interaction and a great bonhomie with the Chinese then, when the Prime Minister was Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. And there was a very famous saying, Hindi Chini Bhai Bhai.
Yes.
A lot of films have been made on that perspective. But what happened in 62 is historical. It's one of the biggest acts of treachery, because on the one hand, we had so-called brotherhood with the Chinese, and on the second hand, they attacked us and we suffered a very, very terrible defeat. Not because of the quality of the soldiers we had, Drishti. We have fantastic soldiers. If you have gone down and read a little bit of the Indo-China 62 war history, हिंदी में कहते हैं वो रोंगटे खड़े करने वाली बातें होंगी if you really realize how one man could hold up hordes of the Chinese. We lost. We lost because we were ill-equipped. We lost because we were caught off guard. We lost because we did not have standardized weapons. So many things went against us in that context. When we now look at it, over the years, things went all right. There was a little bit of a connect with them. But in 1967, they redid and reenacted 62. And that was in Nakula. You see, you were nowhere around, my dear girl. I was again a very young little kid in 5th standard. But gave them a beating in Nathula. We knocked off 400 of their soldiers. They knocked 90 of ours, and Nathula happens to be with us. My saying this to you in a retrospective manner is only to tell you, I don't think they're worth trusting, so to say. We have had a lot of bonhomie with them during the last government in power, and as soldiers we do not show allegiance towards a particular government in power, because soldier ki jo religion hoti hai na, that is my vardi.
Yes.
We go by orders of people who are in power. It could be anybody, Drishti. When we are told move, we move. Then we do not show political affiliations. But over the past few years we have realized that there have been a lot of clandestine things that have been happening, possibly behind the lines, which people like you and me are not much aware of. Having said that, things still worked out fine. We had another government in power. There has been a lot of meetings between Xi Jinping and Prime Minister Modi in China, and he came in here and everything was fine till Galwan happened. Now, Galwan happening was a shocker. Why? Because, you see, there is no demarcated border as such. It is an open space of land. Beta, you are living in Chandigarh in part of Punjab. I lived half my life there. If you have gone down to Amritsar and gone to the Atari border, you have seen the change of guard. All along that Indo-Pak area, it's a fenced area. There's a proper wire fencing which gets electrified in the night. So, that side is the other country and this side we are there. Similarly, in Rajasthan, it is there. Why? Because these areas are plain grounds. You can construct fences. You cannot have these borders in high altitude areas like Kashmir. Kashmir doesn't have any border fencing. There is Nale. Where can you fence? That's why you find in gaps between these areas, the terrorists come in, the infiltrators come in. Similarly, in Ladakh, which is all rocky plain, There is no border, Drishti. There's nothing fixed. It is just, you're on that side and I'm on this side. And we say somewhere in between us is the international border, the line of actual control. And every year, Drishti, there have been little powwows with them. They come up, we come up, and then there's a lot of jostling going on. You would have noticed no bullets are fired, no, nothing is done. They push each other with shoulders and they push each other with hands. This time, what has happened is it's been something which has caught everybody off guard because it was never expected. Galwan Valley is India because Ghulam Rasool Galwan was an Indian, a Ladakhi Indian. How can the Chinese, even for a figment of imagination, say Galwan is theirs? If it was there, they would have had a Chinese name to it. It's Galwan Valley. It's after the Indian, the Ladakhi. A lot of people must know these things. Now they claim, you see, why is because we are constructing a road on this side of the valley. There's a huge mountainous ridge. We have the tops of the ridge. Why do the Chinese want to get there? Because they will have a complete overview of the road, which is India. Something very similar to what happened, if you remember, you were again a very little girl then when Kargil happened. They wanted to capture the height so that they could see the Jammu Kashmir National Highway. Every nation wants to dominate the other. So this time we found that there was a jostling going on and they suddenly came and got into our area. Then there were a lot of talks going on. There was Indo-China talks at the Major General, Lieutenant General levels. And everything was hunky-dory. They said, okay, we will withdraw to our original position. You withdraw to yours. We did that. And what happened in the process? In the process of their withdrawal, they suddenly stopped at a particular place. And we had this 16 Bihar regiment. We had this wonderful officer, Colonel Santosh Babu, God bless his noble soul. He and a group of his officers or men went to see why had these guys stopped midway when they were retreating. And that is the time they got attacked. And they were attacked in a barbaric manner. There was no firing of shots. They were clubbed. And they killed 20 of our men. We are not people taking this lightly. I told you I won't comment on strategic aspects on television or online, but the fact is we gave it back to them, Drishti. They knocked off a lot of us. They took a few of us also as captured them, but they have returned all of them. We have got nobody in their territory, but we knocked off twice the number that they did. Your question was, what is my view about it? It's as plain and simple, crystal clear. It is not, Drishti, the China of 1962, which could overrun us. You must remember, my dear girl, this country has not fought a conventional war for over 40 years. They have a large army and a little bit of knowledge again for you. Do you know that the Chinese came up with that one-child policy per couple? Are you aware of it?
Yes, now
every married couple will produce one baby only.
Yes.
And there were couples who produced a second baby. And what happened? The couples vanished. They just disappeared. Now, there was a lot of consternation. It's again gone back to a two-child now. But why am I saying this is a bulk of the Chinese soldiers today are all single children to their parents. And when you are a single child, you are a pampered child. Please understand. They are also an oriental nation. Unme bhi bhaichara bahut hota hai. Family bondings bahut hote hain. Like we can't think of life without dad and mom. And what do dad and mom think of Drishti? Sitting out here, and suppose you were in Pune, how would they feel during this pandemic? Similarly, they are very, very close to their children. Now, these single kids who are now part of the Chinese military are the pampered lot. They have been brought up with love, care, affection, and luxury. They are not used to that fighting riffraff. So we have an advantage today. Drishti, that's what I want to tell you is Chinese, they are more than us in number. They are not going to overrun us. They dare not. They are a nuclear weapon power. We are a nuclear power too. We will never talk of nuclearization of our companies, our countries and things. But we are no longer a pushover. That is why there is not much of a noise. They have accepted their defeat. They will continue to make a noise about it is still ours, it is theirs. That Pakistan also does to our part of Kashmir, which they have grabbed. So, number one, there is a stalemate on. Things are back to where they were. Yes, there has been loss of lives, which is not at all bearable, tolerable, or acceptable. I just want to put the record straight. We are no pushover, Drishti. India will not take anything lying down. The Chinese had better beware. COVID has ruined their reputation globally.
Globally, yes.
The entire world is against them. They are a $13 trillion economy. We are only 3. The Prime Minister wants us to go to 5. God bless. America is 33 trillion. They have flooded their markets with our markets with their goods. We are stopping it. The world is stopping it.
Hmm.
We will be able to defeat the Chinese economically, Drishti. We will not get into any war.
So definitely, I think India is no more the India of 1962, and we have come a long way. So
Yes.
people are talking about beating China economy. There's like a whole talk about like banning Chinese products. First of all, what is your take on how economy can affect the whole situation in the border area, especially when it comes to China?
See, when you are looking at Chinese economy vis-a-vis India, I bet even now, Drishti, the phone that you use is one of the Chinese products.
Hmm.
You see, the phones that I use, a lot of electronic equipment we use, we celebrate Diwali with Chinese made items of ladis and lights and diyas. See, they have flooded the Indian economy totally with their products. That's why they've got this money. On top of that, they've got terrific guys like, Jack Ma with Alibaba, and they've come up in a big way. But we must also remember that the quality of Chinese products sold in India is not up to the mark. It's not the quality products which China also exports to other parts of the world. The Middle East, America, they're of different quality. How will it affect the economy? Obviously, when you are pulling out, or when you are winding up Chinese companies doing business in India, and a lot of world powers are also pulling out their basic, huge economic contributors to the Chinese economy from China out of it, what's going to happen, Drishti? How does a country sustain its might economically? Gone are the days when we talk of ourselves being militarily powered. Even America might have the military power. They cannot run over any nation today. How do they control the world? Economy. And let me tell you, before this whole thing happened, China was well ahead of the United States. India was well ahead of the United States economically. Though we are not in their group, as they are only 3 trillion, but we are a strong economy. Now there is a need for us to pull out. How do we make them suffer? How do we make them drain the economy? By stopping buying their goods. How are they getting the money? By selling goods to us, Drishti. Suppose मैं आपसे कल चीजें लेना बंद कर दूंगा. You will suddenly say, sir, मेरे को पैसा कम मिल रहा है. And if it's going to be done on a global perspective, it's going to affect their economy. Border areas, let it be. Border areas will remain the same. What is part of ours is ours. What is part of theirs is theirs. The borders didn't bother about buying and selling Chinese goods. There might have been, nefarious designs of pushing things across border. That's okay. We are looking at it from a larger perspective. The country as a whole. Only yesterday, the government has cancelled that major railway project. 400 crore project just cancelled. China was working on it. They are planning to ban 52 apps. These apps are getting them billions of dollars. TikTok and Zoom and you name it. You mean to say we're not going to survive without them? Of course we will. The Prime Minister, I'm not a political guy. The Prime Minister believes in Make in India. Let's make it. We have the capabilities. We have the wherewithal. We have the brains. We will do it. थोड़ा सा फर्क पड़ेगा दृष्टि, थोड़ी सी पिंच तो हो जाएगी, but we will sustain and we will survive.
So tell me something about if the Prime Minister, recently in a statement said that India will not take it anymore, and if something happens, if the situation escalates, if India will revert back. So what is the situation? Do you think that India and China can go to war in the present situation if the situation escalates? What is your opinion on that? And secondly, one opinion is there that China is creating these situations on the border to actually divert their population and their citizens from the real issues what is happening in China. COVID had hit them, Taiwan has hit them, they are in trouble. So what do you have to say about that? Do you think that the reality is that they just want to divert the Chinese into thinking that there's trouble on the borders rather than in their own country?
Okay, Drishti, there were two parts to your question.
Yes.
One you said is it a possibility, is there a feasibility of India going to war with China? Let me be very honest and tell you, as things stand today, no. Neither of us can really afford a conventional war. Because in today's scenario, Drishti, wars between two nations, unfortunately, ironically, sadly, tragically, will not be confined to only two nations. It's going to have a continual effect, and there'll be a lot of other nations joining in, which the world cannot afford. Yes, when the Prime Minister says, don't mess around with us, we will give it back to you, it's only telling you that you move your tanks in, we'll move our tanks in. You move your jets in, we'll move our jets in, and all said and done, it's open secret. We are all geared up. They know it. They are geared up. Neither of us is wanting to take a chance. But should push come to shove, then I am not going to keep quiet as an individual when I look at it from my height. If somebody were to say something to my mom or my dad, I might try to convince him. ऐसा नहीं बोलते हैं. But if he says something more, then I'll walk up and I'll shake him up. That is what it basically means. No prime minister, no leader of the world will definitely openly say we are ready to war, to go to war. We will always say our defense preparedness is absolutely ready. Coming to the second part, the background in China, Drishti, is not very conducive. Firstly, we need to understand China is not a democracy.
True.
India is a democracy. That's why we have maramaris on television debates in the evening. We have people in this country on television debate who don't speak in favor of the nation, they don't speak in favor of the country, they don't speak in favor of the government, but they get away with it. That is the beauty and the sad part of democracy. You have a freedom of expression, Drishti. I tend to have a different viewpoint. Freedom of expression does not mean I can say whatever I want to say just because my constitutional right says it. This is not the case in China, Drishti. China is in turmoil. Let me tell you, there is so much of victimization of the other communities. I shouldn't be saying him, but the Uyghur Muslims, open known fact, they've been slaughtered. They have been kept into concentration camps. They have been subjugated. They have been tormented, tortured. There is a rising current of revolt within, which may not be seen. When there's no freedom of doing what I want to do, there's always be a feeling of hurt in you. Now, China knows that they have to hang on. They have to somehow keep people with them. Because I wouldn't be shooting my mouth off by saying this. Do you know there was a nation called the Soviet Union, USSR, Union of Soviet Socialist Republic. There were 20, 30 countries as one. It was the most powerful nation on earth, the USSR. Where is the USSR today, Drishti? It's balkanized. You got Russia, you got Kazakhstan, you got Tajikistan, you got Georgia as different countries. Well, I shouldn't be saying this openly, but I think I could. If things don't go the way it should, China will be balkanized. They have problems. COVID has given them a beating of their lifetime. They accept it or not. We will not say that they engineered it or did it originated there. The fact of the matter is they didn't disclose it and divulge it. Even if they knew they made a mistake and it went out of control, had they warned the world that there has been a little error, possibly a lot of people would have come in to help how to contain it. Now you are sitting at home, Drishti. You have no business to be there. You should have been here in Lovely on the hilltop. I have been locked up in my house for 90 days. I am a hip hop and happening guy. I keep flipping like a butterfly. I am stuck. I have gone crazy. Why? Because what they did. Now, if all these things are going against them and countries, and he's having an open war with President Donald Trump. They are at war with each other with war of words. You know what they have said. Now, what are the countries in the world doing? Taiwan is creating a problem for them because it's being engineered. One side. We've got our own Tibet on the other side, which China claims is there. Dalai Lama is in India. He's in Dharamshala. He's been here for years. People are now trying to now excite others to say, look, this is what China has done. And the China has always had this expansionist design. They want to spread across. They have gone across to the South China Sea, which they want to dominate. Australia, which is way down under, has come and signed a little pact with us, a defense military pact, that they allow us to use their bases, they will allow us to use our bases to contain China. Vietnam, which is a tiny little country, which suffered so heavily during the 1960s with the American intervention there in Vietnam. They have given the Chinese a beating of their lives very recently in a war. So what I'm saying, Drishti, things internally for China are cause of great concern for themselves. These diversionary tactics, what do? Create a little problem here. They are helping our immediate mountain kingdom called Nepal. Look at Nepal today. Nepal is part of India, if you know it. We are all the same culture, same caste, same creed people. Today they are following the Chinese line because China is pumping them up. Bangladesh is known factor. Pakistan has always had a nexus with them. What is the aim of all this? To divert tactics, keep people busy with other things and carry on in their own dictatorial way. Who's the other country which supports them? Another country which nobody has time for, and that's North Korea. A most dangerous nation where there is no freedom whatsoever. You are aware of what is happening. North Korea, Pakistan, China, these are three of these bad boys together. The world is different. India has just won a non-permanent seat at the United Nations Security Council 2 days ago. If you're aware, 182 nations and India got 172 votes. So the majority of the world is with us. There are about 10 odd nations, but we won't bother about them. India has its standing. I'm not political, beta. Please understand it. But we have a position abroad. You must have traveled. I have traveled. People have asked me when I went up outside the country. So where are you from? Pakistan? I said no. Thank God for small mercies. India? Oh, very nice, sir. Come, sir, please, sir. It's not here. Went down to the Philippines where my son Akshay is there. The way we were looked after and respected, it's something which is nice. We have a position of strength. People value us for what we are. So China can keep messing around. They will. These are pinpricks for us. Drishti, we are going through tough times. The pandemic has hit us badly. Economy is terrible. We have got migrants, poor guys who have gone back home. Sensex has taken a beating. It's not the best of scenarios for us to have these other additional pinpricks now. Nepal on one side, they have taken a part of India and saying this ये हमारा है, काला पानी area near Uttarakhand. उनका था ही नहीं ये, but कर दिया है because they are being instigated. So we need to understand.
True, sir. I think definitely, I think you covered most of the points and you described to us what is the real situation. And now talking about globally, we have covered what is happening around the world, and India is in a better position than it was ever been. So coming to India, you know that the issue is also getting politicized. We have Congress coming up, BJP coming with statement defending. And as a veteran, when you see an issue like this, where national security is concerned and being politicized, what learnings that you take away and what message you like to give to the younger audiences listening to you right now and seeing this situation taking this political fold?
Good question, Drishti, and such a commonly asked question today. As a soldier, forget soldier, as an Indian first, a soldier thereafter, I feel ashamed when people question the role of the army. Why talk of now? What happened in Pulwama? What happened in Balakot? They wanted proof. Show us the missiles fired. Show us the bullets fired. Show the I mean, let's be honest about it, beta. There's nothing hidden about factors like this. Are these aspects which any defense force of any country in the world will divulge to the civilian population? Obviously not.
Yes.
If this was the case, then nothing would remain top secret. Why are these forces separate? They work in a different parameter. Who are the people who are advising us today? Armchair people, armchair politicians, armchair journalists, armchair pseudos who have never got out of the comforts of their air-conditioned rooms to talk about, we should have gone from the northeast and attacked them from southwest. They have never set foot in an area which is a battle-prone area, and they comment on it. And then, I remember 71 as a child again, when India fought Pakistan. The present dispensation in power was the opposition then. Mrs. Gandhi was the Prime Minister, if you remember.
Yes.
The whole country said whatever is said by the Prime Minister is sacrosanct. There's no political differences here. When it comes to the nation, we fight together. What do we see on national television debates every day? Why were our soldiers unarmed? Why did they get into this? Why is so-and-so hiding information? You have the defense chief, you have the defense CDS, you have the external affairs ministry, you have the prime minister. When they come on television to make a statement, and mind you, I'm not talking of the present dispensation, but to any government in power, when the head of state comes and makes an address to the nation, there is no debate on it. We will first swim or sink together as a nation. Politically, I might disagree with Drishti's views and Drishti can disagree with Colonel Saab's views. It's okay, beta. But when it comes to the nation, we are together. Then it's not that I am so-and-so, I support so-and-so, you support so-and-so. As a soldier, I feel appalled, I feel sad, and I go through a lot of channels because that's all we are doing in these days because of the lockdown. It hurts me. Why did Colonel Santosh Babu die, Betu? I feel I feel, torn apart. He's got a young wife, he's got 2 children. Now I'm speaking as a soldier, please. Other day in Handwara, about a month ago, we lost 4 officers, and I told you the other day, 3 of them were from my regiment. And what a lady that wife is. My own, closest to my heart, my own battalion officer, same regiment which was involved in Handwara, exactly 21st August, 20 years ago, 2000. I lost him, he was the commanding officer, blown off in a landmine. How do I feel about it, Drishti? I'm a parent too. I've got girls and boys just like you. You're like my little one. How do I feel about it? And when you hear people saying, आखिरकार वो तो फौजी था ना, तनख्वाह मिलती थी. तनख्वाह मिलती थी is what some people have said. We are paid, so we must die. Let it hurts. You asked me a straight question, as a straight answer, I said it hurts. And I look at these people very myopically. I said, I don't conform to their norms. There's nothing that I can do about it. But these are people who are not going to hold your hand tomorrow in the face of adversity. I feel appalled when I hear it. As a nation, we are together. And by the grace of God, 90% plus of India is one. We have certain people. No, I don't name parties. You realize I have not named a single political party. We don't talk of party, but there is a party which is totally pro-China. Why? It's history. Even in 1962, when it came to blood donation for our soldiers, this particular party refused to donate blood to our soldiers because they were in sync with the other political thought process. What politics are we talking about, Drishti? This is the country. Country stands, politics will survive. When there's no country, there's no politics.
Mm.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think today, whatever Colonel Sunil has said, we need to understand that as a country, we need to be united. And this is the time to be united and fight against the enemy who is defeating us not on the military grounds, but economically. Now, as a country, we need to take steps to beat the economy so that these kind of situations are not to be heard again.